What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Tuesday, January 30th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 5-game slate tonight. So let's take a look at the point guard position. So I got some good value plays on this slate, but I'm going to give you a stud pick here because I really don't love this position. I think there's a couple of good studs, and outside of that, the plays look pretty risky at point guard. So I'm going to pay up for Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks playing the LA Lakers, who have the 7th worst defense overall. They give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing point guards, and Trae Young has averaged 50.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 36 minutes per game with a 31% usage rate. So he's projected at 47.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.8 times value. But if he scores his season average or more, he'll get you 5 times value or more. He's 9,800 DraftKings salary, 400 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 246 points scored in this game. Trae Young has scored 54 and 55 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 41 and 33 minutes. Great matchup, fast-paced game, home game. He's fresh. He's not on a back-to-back. And let's take a look. He scored 56, 45, 61, and 55 fantasy points in his last 4 games versus the Lakers. So I like Trae Young here versus the LA Lakers. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. So I'm going to give you somewhat of a high risk, high reward play here. I think the ownership will be relatively low. He's not a guy that really pops off the page, but I like Alex Caruso from the Chicago Bulls playing the Toronto Raptors, who have the 12th worst defense overall. They give up the 12th most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards, and Alex Caruso averaging 23.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 26 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. But what I like about this pick is over the last 3 games, he's averaging over 30 minutes per game. So that's going to lead to fantasy point production that's way over his season average. So he is just projected at 20.1 fantasy points here tonight. But that projection is off because they're looking at the number of minutes that was played throughout the season and his production and all these other things, you know. But if the guy's playing 10 more minutes, 30% more minutes, you could expect 30% more production from his fantasy points. So anyways, Alex Caruso, I think his ownership is going to be low just because he doesn't project out well. But he only needs about 30 fantasy points, 28 fantasy points. Let's just take a look here. Let's project him out at 28 fantasy points here tonight, which is totally reasonable. So we get Alex Caruso. So that's just about 5 times value. He's 5,700 DraftKings salary, 500 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 225.5 points scored in this game. Now, Alex Caruso has scored 25, 40, and 32 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 32, 35, and 32 minutes. So it looks like for the minutes that he's playing and his production on the court during those minutes, he's putting up 0.91 fantasy points per minute. So if he plays close to 30 minutes, if he plays 30 minutes or more, he should get you close to 30 fantasy points, which would be over 5 times value. So I like Alex Caruso here versus the Toronto Raptors. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And then we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. So I like Saddiq Bey from the Atlanta Hawks playing the LA Lakers, who have the 7th worst defense overall. Middle of the pack defending opposing small forwards. Saddiq Bey averaging 26.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. Now he's only projected at 25.2 fantasy points here tonight, but he's been hot the past 3 games, scoring 48, 33, and 35 fantasy points, playing 41, 37 and 26 minutes. So he's only a 6,100 DraftKings salary. He's 500 more on FanDuel. I think you could score 30 fantasy points or more here tonight, get you 5 times value or more. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 246 points scored in this game. So super high scoring game, probably a good game to stack. So I like Saddiq Bey here versus the LA Lakers. Okay, who do we have at the power forward position? Okay, so here's a sleeper pick, or a low salary pick anyways. I like Rui Hachimura from the LA Lakers playing the Atlanta Hawks, who have the 2nd worst defense overall. They give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Rui Hachimura averaging 19.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 23 minutes per game with a 19% usage rate. Now he's projected at 18.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. Only 3,800 DraftKings salary, 800 more on FanDuel. We know Vegas thinks it's going to be a high scoring game. 246 points scored in this game. Rui Hachimura scored 27, 16, and 19 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 22, 17, and 19 minutes. So I'd like to see him play his season average in minutes at least here tonight. Now he is on a back-to-back, but that's of no concern when he's only been playing 20 minutes a night. So, and it's a fantastic matchup in a high-scoring game. The price is right, especially on DK. So I like Rui Hachimura here versus the Atlanta Hawks. Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, moving on to the center position. So as a stud pick here, you got Anthony Davis, but he is banged up a little bit, and he's on a back-to-back, although he only played 28 minutes last night. He could play limited minutes here again. They could just they could roll him out there for 28 minutes again on a back-to-back, being cautious. And then he could resume to his 36 or 35 minute average the following game after some rest. So I will be a little careful with Anthony Davis, although it is a fantastic matchup versus the Atlanta Hawks. So if he does get 30 plus minutes here tonight, he could crush it if his injury is not of any concern. So moving on, I like Nikola Vucevic from the Chicago Bulls playing the Toronto Raptors, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, middle-of-the-pack defending opposing centers. Now, Nikolai Vucevic averaging 39 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate, projected at 35.9 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.8 times value. He's 7,500 DraftKings salary, 400 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 225.5 points scored in this game. And Vucevic has scored 33, 34, and 52 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 33, 39, and 36 minutes. So he certainly has that 50-plus fantasy point upside. And I think at 7,500 DraftKings salary and 7,900 on FanDuel, the price is right on both sites. So I like Nikolai Vucevic here versus the Toronto Raptors. Now, if you want to pay down in salary here, you got a guy like Draymond Green, who's been super hot, scoring 53, 34, and 29 fantasy points in the last 3 games. But he did play 45 minutes last game. Now, it's not a back-to-back, so he could go out there and play plenty of minutes. But I tend, especially these older players, I tend to shy away from them after putting up monster games in monster minutes. So, with that said, I like Clint Capella from the Atlanta Hawks playing the LA Lakers. This high-scoring game, I think it's a good game to stack. Lakers have the 7th worst defense overall, middle-of-the-pack defending opposing centers. So, Clint Capella averaging 30.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 26 minutes per game with a 17% usage rate. So he's projected at 27.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.7 times value. But I think he can put up 30 fantasy points or more and get you 5 times value or more. Only 5,800 DraftKings salary, 700 more on FanDuel. We know Vegas thinks there's going to be 246 points scored in this game. And Clint Capella scoring 40, 25, and 30 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 27, 24, and 24 minutes. So he's got that 30, 40 fantasy point upside. He flashes it quite often here. And he's averaging 30.5 fantasy points per game. Should be over 5 times value in a good matchup here in a fast-paced game at home, not on a back-to-back, in a high-scoring game. Just a lot going for him at this price tag. So I like Clint Capella here versus the Los Angeles Lakers. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.